Good evening, everyone. I am Mike Asherbrenner, the proud and humble leader of the Hounds of Business, and you are watching the Hounds of Business Live Happy Hour. So be happy, go grab a beverage, get ready, network, especially if you're in IT. You don't have to be in IT to be inspired today. Wonderful friend, brilliant lady, Dr. Jane Williams. Cannot wait to bring her on, talk about her, and just share a lot of her wisdom that can certainly help you guys move forward in your careers, get unstuck, especially in IT. I'm not going to spill the beans. I can go on and on. We know that. But hey, let's see. I always say nobody watched the first 30 minutes. Jane's back there. So that's why I just get up here and do my Muppet show until I see a comment. All right. So hopefully everybody's doing well. And let's see. I'll tell you what, we'll go through. Hold on. I have somebody I'm training that can work the backstage. So you all will miss all the screen disappearing and stuff. I'm sorry in advance. Let's see. All right. All right. This is about to come down. Hounds of business. All right. No strays out there. If you're looking for a pack of high level, heart centered professionals, you're trying to grow your business, trying to grow visibility, and just be supported, right? Sometimes we lack the resources and the support to get going. All right. So no more strays out there. All right. Join the pack. Check us out. There's pack members all up in there. And who's LinkedIn user? I hate that. Oh my goodness. Not your fault. It's just glitches sometimes. Let us know who you are. Thank you for showing up. And if you've been in the Hounds of Business community, HOB, for at least 3 months, around that, and you're active and you really want to get engaged and you really want to get more out of this and put more into it, then scan that QR code. I'm going to be setting a meeting with the ambassadors, the potentials, and really start hammering this, man. This is people who get closer to the most active people in the hounds tend to blow up, all right, and quickly. All right. So make sure you scan that QR code. And if you're not a member of the Hounds of Business, what are you waiting for? Come on now. Hey, don't do it yourself. We don't have an ego in this. Hey, all you got to do is treat it like a buffet. You can have all, none, some, come back later, watch the game. No, you never walk into a restaurant, they don't stick your face in the mashed potatoes. Or if you're a vegan, make you eat the steak dinner. Test drive us. Just like you try on clothes before you buy them, right? Hopefully you date before you get married. Same concept. All right. Don't go at it alone. Check us out. We're here for you to support you, and we are blowing up like crazy. All right. So the more the merrier, guys. All right. Let's see. Oh, we got Jackie. Jackie. Well, whoever said that, there you go. That's you. Who is that? I know you. I'll say I think I know who that is. I'll be honest and let you know if I know who that is. So do us a favor. If you know of anybody in IT, technology, go ahead and tag them on this. Go back to the LinkedIn, tag them in the comments. We want to make sure they see it now or later. There it is. I knew it. Sarah P. Wonderful. So glad you were here. And you're going to love this. You're going to love Jane, Sarah. Oh my goodness. You too. If you haven't chatted, we got to connect you guys. So another fellow hound. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and roll this intro and we're going to get the party started.
Are you looking to grow your network and your net worth with other high level, heart centered professionals? Then grab a seat and your favorite beverage and join Mike Asherbrenner, the Redneck Connector. It's time for the Hounds of Business Community Happy Hour.
All right. Welcome back. Now they're piling in. They're taking a little bit of time, right? So summertime's coming down. The kids are at school, blah, blah, blah. But I hope everybody is having a good time. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little bit tired. But that's because I'm working hard because I'm passionate. So let us know what you've been doing out there in the comments. Hey, what are you working on? All right, it's okay. You should network inside of this. Don't pitch slap with a P, okay? But network, get to know each other, say hi, ask questions. Dr. Jane, she's brilliant and friendly as she is brilliant. So, how are you today, Dr. Jane?
I am great. How are you? You said you're tired, but
Well, yeah, well, now I was, and then I saw you back there, and I just started blah blah blah, right? Because that's what I do when I like people, just talk. That's what I do. So, so glad to see you. Sarah's here. See, Jen Lynn. Okay, I can't see her. There's a lot more comments that there's a glitch on not just LinkedIn but Restream as well. So if we pass you up, it is not intentional. So sorry. But when you see people come in, let them know. And if they're not a hound, hey, shout them out because we want people to grow, right? That's what we want. So there we go. That must be all right. So let's get going. I this is serious. Like I didn't even do no goofy stuff in the middle and beginning. I just want to get right to it. So let me read if I can find it because you have an amazing bio and your story is just really just inspiring. So let me see if I can pull it out. There it is. All right, now Jane, I don't read for just anybody. Okay, so you feel special yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, like what's the? That's the right answer.
Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. All right. So Jane Williams, your company and your brand, right? Your coaching is find your fire. All right. Sometimes the best way to through a brick wall isn't straight through it; it's over or around it. These words spoken by Jane Williams' father perfectly represent her transformation from timid to triumphant. At a young age, Jane was known to be intellectual and creative. She even skipped ahead to the first grade, and while this helped her academically, she was personally overwhelmed by the transition, causing her to become shy and reserved. This condition seemed to plague her path for years until the day she came to do a speaking presentation for her IT graduate class. She realized that she didn't want to be remembered for falling apart and failing, but for giving an amazing performance. The time had come for her to find her fire and rise to the challenge, which is exactly what she did. This launched a transformation that not only gave her courage and confidence to speak up and stand up for herself, it fueled an enormously successful career at IBM, where she flourished in a male dominated industry over the next 2 decades. During her time there, she gained extensive experience managing global teams in Fortune 500 companies and, the multi- and a multitude of industries. And after making her way around many brick walls and traveling across the world, she knew it was time to ignite her solo career and pay it forward. Today, Jane coaches ambitious women in IT to get clarity on their career, calm their voice, and find their fire. After successfully climbing the leadership ladder, and charting her own path to success, she now helps other women rise to their ideal of success in their careers. Jane is an exceptional problem solver who is certified in design thinking with a master's in information technology and a doctorate in leadership of remote teams. She actively listens and creates order out of chaos to help her clients clarify and capture their desired career path. Her mission is to offer a see, look, there's a word I can't say. How do you say that? Bespoke?
Bespoke.
That's a big word. There you go. Bespoke experience that combines coaching and mentorship while encouraging and inspire women across the globe. Wow. That's you. Wow. You've done a lot of stuff. So let's get to it.
All
All
right.
right. You have. All right. And a lot of
It
good
sounds
inspiring
like
stuff
that in the
too.
bio all the time, right?
Yeah. It's nothing like watching somebody read your bio while you're sitting there. I love that. Right. I don't know if I chew on my fingernails. I don't know what to do when they do that. But you did well. You just smiled.
Like,
I'll do
whatever.
that next time. Yeah, whatever. So, can you tell us about your early years? We just kinda mentioned it. What was it like skipping, 1st grade to 1st grade at a young age?
It's so weird. It's like I don't know if anybody out there has read the book Lessons in Chemistry, but I think the main character in there, it's all about my generation and that before, and how women struggled. But one of her things, she was put into school where she could read before everybody else, and I could too. And what you learn to do then is you want to fit in, so you hide everything. You hide it. I didn't want to tell anybody I learned how to read. I didn't want to tell anybody I knew all this stuff. So it kind of increases your shyness because you're even more withdrawn because you don't want everybody to think you're a weirdo. So
Right,
I don't know. It's
right.
a hard thing.
Yeah, well, now I'll let my weirdo out. That's
Yeah.
that's okay. I'm a happy weirdo. But you're right, my daughter's 5, and she's like that. She is super smart. She really reads people, and you see her pull back a lot. Because she doesn't wanna be called out. Like, "Hey, you're
Yep.
really smart," and she's shy, but she's a COVID baby. She grew up with old people, I mean, so she thinks she's old. I mean, she thinks she's an adult, right? So, I can relate to that. So, what is, how did being intellectually advanced, but being shy, like, so throughout your childhood, so early age, we know how you felt, but what about high school and even after that, like college?
It's weird. It's like you get your masking techniques, you get your, mask in front of yourself, and you don't want to be yourself in front of people. It's hard to do that. But then you start getting crazy and you find that little group of friends where you can do that and start growing your confidence, slowly but surely. But it's difficult. And especially, when I was lucky enough to have a father, well, both my parents, really kind of taught me and gave me a deep seated assumption that I could do anything I wanted in the entire world. I mean, that was rock solid part of my growing up. So, regardless of what happened and being shy, I still had that idea that I can do whatever I want. I just got to figure it out. And, but what I didn't learn was how to make other people help me do that. So that I think is a lesson that's very, very hard to learn. It's how to reach out, have people involved in your success, and understand that they're helping you. So and trust them. It's hard. So that's one of the things you need to learn.
Yeah. Well, I remember, I can't remember where I read it, maybe it was in the quote, but, your father's quote, right, about finding ways around the brick wall, right, it seems pivotal. How did that advice shape the way you approach life challenges in general?
It's so funny. I just mentioned this to a client the other day. It's like my dad was a great person, love him to death, and he's my inspiration, but he was very autocratic. I mean, he was in a house with three women and nobody listened to him. And he just learned to be very, very autocratic. He wanted things the way he wanted them. We all approached it differently. My mom just placated him to whatever he wanted. My sister got in his face, and yelled at him all the time. And I just said, okay, and then went off and did what I wanted to do. So, three different approaches to facing, a brick wall like that. And it's never effective to just give in and let someone run over you. And it's also never effective to get in their face and just hammer your way through the brick wall. It very rarely works. So finding a way, and it's really, really helped. And I think, when I work with clients, they learn it. It really know what you want, know what that person wants, and then come at them in a way that you can get what you want and they feel like they did too. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Okay, 2 things. Be like water, alright? And I wish I learned that way back like you, but, yeah, I'm a slow learner, so, in some things. But I've realized if you can't go through it, try to go around it, over it, under it, like, go get some, other water and go push it. I don't know, but there's always a way. And I think a lot of us get stuck because we think we're limited, right? And have you encountered that throughout your career where you thought, "Oh, this is my limit. This is as much as I can do." And then somehow you broke through and went way farther than you anticipated. That's really your whole career, is it not?
Oh my God. I remember waking up one morning, just when I was working with IBM, it was like every morning you'd wake up and it was either I would do like 3 cities in one week, and you're taking on a new thing and learning a new technology because you had to do that constantly to be successful. And I remember waking up one morning just like, God, I wish I knew I could wake up one day where I knew exactly what I was doing, and it was something that was so boring I could do it in my sleep, and I just
Mhm.
never had that opportunity. And then I found out when I actually left that I missed that, so you miss that
Right.
constant push to get out of your comfort zone. But yeah, it's like sometimes you're just like, let me do something boring for one day.
Yeah, but you're doing it yourself though, so you don't have to do much of it. You don't have to start a new career to help people and all that stuff, right? I mean, you don't have to do anything. So is that just who you are? Have always been just a really ambitious, driven person? Like you just can't go fishing and flip the lights on and off all day long, right? Or turkey hunting. Sorry, turkey hunt.
Turkey
But
hunting.
like
I don't,
what?
unfortunately. Um, I'm honestly a very lazy person. I'm not go, 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 go all the time. I take my time for myself, as anybody who knows me will know. But I like to I wear this ring, and inscribed on this ring is seek discomfort. And it's a group of guys that, I don't know if everybody's heard of this group, but their whole concept is if you're not doing something outside your comfort zone, what's the point? So, to me, I've
Yeah.
always been like that. It's like, it would be nice to wake up someday and have a boring day, but it's not interesting. I mean, you need to be out there always doing something that you've never done before, learning new things, pushing yourself. So it's really, really important.
I'm gonna skip ahead because I want people, if you can't see this book, the title, the author, and who's on it. All right. So maybe we can see it there. Can you guys see that? Y'all see that face? That's a familiar face. All right. I give a free virtual hug to whoever could tell me who's on this. Who's that picture of that guy? We know that's Dr. Jane, right? There she is. Who's that? And this book is by, tell us about the book. Let's go ahead. We'll talk about it multiple times because I want to make sure people get it. You helped co-author this book. Tell us about it if you don't mind.
It's really interesting. This is the multiple editions. This is volume 14, but it's contributions. Jim Britt, who is a really great motivational speaker. If you've never heard of him or anything, he's just a fantastic guy to follow. But he's done this in collaboration with Brian Tracy and Tony Robbins, who's on the front there. Tony's just an endorser. He doesn't write anything in it, but it's a collaboration from people, all over the world, writing articles about how to be successful. A lot of it's focused on entrepreneurship. My article's about having to be an entrepreneur within a corporation, but it's really not just about, when they say cracking the rich code, they're talking about having a meaningful life and doing what you want to do the way you want to do it and being successful doing that. And I was just so honored to be approached to them and asked to contribute to this book. I mean, it's just kind of a neat thing. I mean, just reading the different articles, there's a lot of them out there. You can grab even the past copies. Really inspirational. And I learned one of the best things that I learned in it was there was an article, I think it was, I don't know if it was Brian Tracy, but it was somebody else, somebody wrote an article about being your own butler. And this one really, really resonated with me. It's like, how would it feel if you woke up in the morning and all your clothes were laid out by your butler and everything was perfect and your coffee was all made and your breakfast was right there? Well, you can do that for yourself, and make yourself feel better. And so it's all about, being successful, working hard, but also having a rich, fulfilling life while you're doing it. So
That's so funny. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and tell everybody because I shouldn't. Hopefully, my wife's not watching. I see all the clothes that I just took out of the dryer and just dropped them, all right, and they're still there. And I was like, okay, that's bothering me. So, but then it dawned on me. I was like, hey, Goofy, all the energy you spent grumbling about the clothes, you could have had them folded like 2 days ago. Right? Sometimes you just got to do it, right? Well, I worked all day. Well, work a little bit more, right? Get it done. So I love the sentiment behind it. Everybody, and I wanted to bring this up because I've seen people in here, tech people, but that's not just, this isn't just for tech people. This is for strategies of winning, right?
yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah. So
all
go
about
check.
entrepreneurship. A lot of it, yeah.
Wonderful. All right. So let's dive into that a little bit. So, what inspired you to pursue a career in IT? It has to be a good story, right? So, what was that moment where you were like, "This is it. This is where I'm going." Was it
I got
childhood or
to
is it later on?
This is a hilarious story. I was not inspired to start a career in IT. I was a financial advisor right out of college, and that
Really?
was the worst possible job for me in the world. And I was this close to getting fired. They were taking me by the scruff
Okay.
of the neck and walking me down to HR. And since they knew that I was at least energetic and willing to work, but there was an opening in the information center, the new information center. And so they got me a job there and they said, okay, you got this for 6 months. If you can make it here, you're good. Because I learned, and a lot of people don't learn this, and some of my clients, I think, don't. It's hard lesson to learn is how to survive in a corporate life. They don't teach you that in school. And, I was doing stuff like standing on my desk, yelling at people across the room and, doing crazy, stupid things like that. And, you learn the hard way. But
Yeah.
then I got into IT. I was really, really good at making hard things easy. So automating, I think, anybody in IT will know how wonderful and powerful automation is. My my catchphrase was, you don't want me, you want me to do what? It's like, I'm not doing that. I can set up,
Right.
a bot to do that and it'll be really easy. So that's how I got into IT is number one, almost getting fired, then getting into a job where I was stellar at doing what I was doing. And I think the lesson from that is people get stuck in their jobs and they think it's horrible. They hate me. I'm doing a terrible job. They're going to get fired. You can be really next to being fired in one job and not change anything about yourself, move to a different environment, and you're a rock star. So it's all about finding your fire, what you're good at, what drives you, and then following that and not listening to what people tell you you should do, doing what you know from your heart that you're good at. So, and then having the confidence then to follow that.
I want to hit on that because that's a huge topic. I mean, did a lot of people try to discourage you? Was it friends, family, or did people say, "Oh, you shouldn't do that" at some point? Or yeah, elaborate a little bit because that happens all the time. People in the comments, hey, folks, hounds, friends of the hounds, chime in. You're like, I'm going to do something great, and I forgot who it was. This quote, he said, "When people say you changed, when people say that you've changed, it's because they don't know how to say you've grown."
Oh,
So
I like that.
man, that is amazing. That's because it's like when you're hanging out with the same people and you try to crawl the hole. They're not ready to crawl out that hole, so they try to grab you back down. "Hey, you better get back here," kind of thing, right? So have you experienced that much or at all, throughout or
I think a lot of people have. It's like you got something that you want to do and it doesn't fit someone else's mold or they've got a different perspective than you do. And you're not going to be, you might be successful in changing the minds of 50 people around you and changing a corporate culture. It's been done, but it's much, much easier to find your path in a place that at least you got some support around you and people recognize you and they have your perspective and your values and your culture. So yeah,
right?
but I think everybody's done that. I mean, everybody on this on this call has had that situation where they thought they were really, really great and people were just telling them no, you can't do it. Kind of change your perspective and maybe shift a little bit and get with some different people who think you're great.
I think it was Goggins or somebody said that you will never have a hater who's more successful than you. Yeah, you can tell I've been listening to this. I need to hear this stuff because I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, hey, anything that's going on with you is pretty much what's happening to anybody who's chose to be more than they are, right? Like going, I used to say big thing. I mean, I believe it. It used to, I couldn't say the words. I want 1,000,000 heart centered, high level professionals in 3 years. And that sounded crazy. And some people were like, oh my God, don't say that. And then other people were like, yeah, that's nutty. That's crazy enough for me to want to be a part of. Like CJ, Dr. CJ is like, hey, that's so crazy. I want to be help you do it. Right. So don't judge people. We're not judging people. We're not saying we're better or worse. What we're saying is there's a mindset difference, right? I talk a lot. So hanging out with a bunch of moms would just drive me nuts. Could you imagine? I mean, it would drive them nuts, probably worse. So get in where you fit in. And when you start to shift that mindset, my goodness, you'll attract people. You'll attract people who will be like, "Hey, I'm crazy like you. Let's do this." I mean, look at the chat, right? There's the hound's just
Yeah.
a great example. So let's. I want to dive into. You said something about a graduate. Can you share the story of the graduate class speaking presentation? Right? How did that moment become a turning point for you?
Oh my God. I was in, IT curriculum, IT folks, and I can't remember, but I was probably the only woman in the group. Maybe if so, there's maybe one or
Wow.
two. I know I just take it take it for granted anymore, but we had one of our assignments, one of the final assignments was, and these are master's level people who've been in business for a while, was to give a presentation, create a presentation, and convince an audience of something. They were, there was that panel where you kind of like Shark Tank, where you have to convince somebody of something. And I'm like scared to death. It's horrible. I went over my presentation over and over. I thought it was okay, but I was still scared to death. And I walked into the room, and they were guys. Two of them actually left because they had to go throw up. They were so scared. And I thought, whoa. These are
Wow.
guys, they've been in business forever. I haven't been in business and they're still scared to death. And I said, well, wait a minute. If they can't do it and they're scared about it, I can at least do this better than them.
There you go. That's the spirit.
Right. So I said,
Opportunity.
okay, I said, let's go. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? It can't be this bad. So I went and gave that presentation, and it turned out being fantastic. Everybody loved it, and I was great. And that really got me to believe, like, being scared. My mom said this once to me, like, being shy is the best form of selfishness, which was kind of, thanks, mom. But you're thinking all about yourself. And if you can think, I'm giving this presentation, I'm not, it's not all about me. It's about the people who are listening, the people who are getting something out of it. And do they care if I get up there and look all nervous? That's ridiculous. I'm wasting their time. So it doesn't take that much, to kind of change that perspective. And once that clicks, it's like a lot of things you work and work and work and work at. It's like once it clicks, you got it. So, and from then on, I was, I'm not saying I was really excited about public speaking, but I still, knew I could do it.
Yeah, there's just a why not? Everybody say, "Well, how can I?" and blah blah blah. You're like, "Why not me? Why not do it?" And it's like, well, let me take a stab at it. My daughter is the same way. I seriously, my you got to meet my 5-year-old. You two, you're on the same path. The guy, I show, she thinks she can do what I do. Like I was using the skill saw, the circular saw, and she's like, "Hey, Dad, can I try?" No, you can't even reach the table. No, they can't try. But I've conditioned her. When she was a little baby, about 3 years old, she's screwdriving the toilet seat together, right? I just let her do it. It was funny. I was walking down the street and this guy was out there with the drill and the lumber. Same thing. He said, "Hey, do you want to try this?" And I almost died. I was like, he has no idea. He's like, "You do it like this." And she just picked it up, bop, boom, boom, boom. She
No
I
fear,
was
huh?
like, oh my gosh, she made me stand there for an hour and a half outside while she put the bed slats together. But again, she doesn't understand that she's only 5. She doesn't care. She's capable of doing it. And,
Yeah. It
a
never
lot of
occurred to her that
yeah,
she couldn't do it, right?
yes. And again, it sounds cliche and like some after school special, but it's true. Like, when she fell down the first time after she walked, I didn't say, "Oh, don't do that again." Right? Hey, get up and do it again. But at some point we don't. And I want people to understand that it's you. You did this when it wasn't famous, wasn't popular, right? It had to be very challenging being a woman in a male dominated industry that really wasn't open, to be yourself, right? Those kind of things. How do you be yourself? I mean, corporate life and life in general is hard enough, right? So let's
Yeah.
transition a little bit. And if you want to add something to it, go ahead, because this is
No,
all about you.
no, go ahead. I mean, yeah, corporate life's a whole different thing. And I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs here, but I see a comment here that Natasha was a QA engineer and software tester with 4 years of experience, and she's got zero job offers. That's a tough one, but
Okay.
you got to believe that you have something, that's of value. And you're just not getting that across to people. And sometimes that takes a little oomph and doing something a little differently, to get that attention and get people interested in you. So do something a little bit crazy. If you're just sending that same old resume out day after day after day and it looks the same and it's not getting any results, change it up.
I that is the truest thing. I love it. Like putting on a camo hat and doing business, right? Yeah, it's a little crazy. Who knew? And now I got Dr. Jane here, so it works. But what was it the other day? I noticed. Oh, I've been wanting to talk to this guy. I love the way this guy operates, his values. He's really big in the music. And finally, I was like, you know what? I need to find a way to either move it forward or just, I need to find a way. So instead of sending that boring text message, Jane, here's what I said. I said, "Hey, buddy, not since Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart has there been such a dynamic duo." I said, "How about we chat and find a way to work together?" Nanoseconds. Hey, let's do that. Like it caught his
Yeah.
attention, right? Yeah. Because if he doesn't, then I'm like, well, he don't, he wouldn't do anything anyway. But if I say something just kind of zany and out there, a lot of times you catch attention. So don't do something crazy on your resume and blame us. But
Yeah.
yeah, go find a way.
But number one, nobody's reading resumes. They're being put in a pile and fed through an AI engine, right? Um,
Hmm.
you gotta figure out what will make you stand out. I mean, nobody's reading that wonderful cover letter that you spent three. I know that's probably controversial and people can debate that, but nobody's reading that beautiful cover letter you spent all that time reading, writing.
Yeah.
You got to do something that stands out and it's different and catches attention of that AI engine. Maybe I don't know, but
Well,
and it's even not
keep
just
going.
resumes. It's like call them up. I just saw a post on LinkedIn. It was like reach out, extend yourself, make that phone call. Or reach out to the head of a company and say, "Hey, I'm the best person." Um, not doing it is not working out. So why not just do it? So
Exactly. That's how this happened. You asked me earlier. You didn't hear the full story. That's how I said I'm already on bottom. I mean, what have I got to lose? Nothing, right? And then opportunities abound. I mean, we'll get to this in just a second, but you're doing it right now. You went from corporate, and now you're starting your own coaching. Very different, right? It's like going across the ocean or something. It's wild, right? So let's see. Go ahead, because I know you had something to say. You're like, woo, it is.
I mean, being an entrepreneur is so different from corporate. I mean, my article in the book is about, and I was lucky enough to be part of a entrepreneurial group within a corporation. But even then, I got a group of technical salespeople together, and we had a great product, and we were going out there and breaking all sorts of rules with it. But I still had a marketing department. I still had a sales department. I still had accountants, and all of this
Right.
stuff. And you don't have that. I cannot believe all you people that have all this fantastic experience and are successful at being entrepreneurs. I mean, that is just the most amazing thing to me. It's hard work, and you've got to be a company of one. You've got to do every single job that there is. So, hats off to that. But
Yeah.
I'm finding that, yeah, do I love, doing marketing? Not so much.
No.
Do I love sales? I want to coach. I want to do what I want, what my job is, but you can't. So and that's one of the great things about what you've got here with the hounds, because what you've done is you've built this support system for everybody. It's there, and there's people of all walks of life and all talents and all skills, and they're there supporting everybody. So, that's kind of, a little bit like that environment. So, and you've done a fantastic job building that. So,
But I had to you're absolutely right. I hope you guys heard that. I mean, it's you're the absolute truth. When you had a job, you had a skill or multiple skills. Somebody else did the marketing, the positioning, the branding, the accounting. Now, and it early, you have to do it in the beginning most of the time. But the goal is to make money, hire other people to do that stuff, right? And start growing your own dadgum business, right? And I think you guys can do it. And Jane, you can do it. You may not want to do it. That's a different story, but you can do it. And I love that attitude. You're just like, well, look, I made it this far. How can I not do this, even though it's a challenge, right? And that's what I think is neat. I mean, it's just like Scott Heathman, right? I mean, he ran an Air Force base, but this
yeah.
is a different game, right? I mean, birds of a feather, right? So, I think there's too many academia. I think there's too many fluffy self-help books, to be honest, because everything I've read, about 95% of it smells like horse dung. Like it's not working in the practical real world.
Yeah.
That's why I was putting that book out there. Everybody, the QR code's at the top left. All right. Scan that code because these are good. This is useful stuff. This is people who actually won, right? And went through the pain and the sacrifice. This is not academia. This is good stuff. So grab that book and Jane said she'd autograph it for me. How many autographs you do? Yeah, don't lie. How many autographs? I ain't the first.
Oh, I do at least 1,000 a day. I swear. Yeah.
Okay. See, I want to be 1,001, dadgummit. All right. So
Oh, I love this
I got to
comment
get
that
you.
just came up there. If you don't love the task, love the challenge. I love that.
Right.
Yeah,
Tyson said that. He says discipline is doing something that you hate like you love it.
I love it. I love it. But
Absolutely.
there's so many people in the house. Like, if I'm not really good at video stuff, there's someone in the house that is. If I'm not really good at writing, I've met Barb Hazelton and all these people that there's something that somebody in this group is good at what you're not, and that really is key. I mean, it's just so valuable.
It is. Pushing people up. Yeah, and we met through Tanya Eberhard, right? Brand Face, the great
Yep.
and one and only. Look, never look, said her name like Beetlejuice. We got to put her up there. Look, there it is. Tanya Eberhard, met through her. I mean, everybody knows I'm biased. I'm always biased, but they truly, she came at the right time in my life, and it's so funny when you put yourself out there and you do your best, opportunities seem to come flooding in a lot faster. Than, absolutely amazing to me. But people people say, well, what do they do? Well, they made me look good and sound good and help me get straight. So who couldn't they help, right? And they helped you. I mean, how much of a better difference does it make when you have an expert to say, "Hey, let me save you years of hell and get this done for you." It makes so much difference, right?
Well, the hardest thing, I don't know, maybe to everybody out there is easy, but the hardest thing for me was selling myself. I look in the mirror and I see something completely different than what other people see. And having them give you that perspective, give you the help you need. I mean, they did everything from, when I was going to do a photo shoot, they sat me down with a woman who told me what to wear. We walked through options and
Right.
I didn't know that. I've done a photo shoot and looked horrible later because I thought that dress looked really fast, really great. And it just didn't. So, you all know that. But, and how, what they do gives you the confidence and really that you just feel comfortable in your own skin working with them. I mean, it's just phenomenal. So, and that combination between the hounds and brand face is so powerful.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it is, and then you got I mean, that's what I love about it. We got, Dr. Constance Leland, Level Up Academy. We gotta do shout outs. Like, Jackie's in here. People I love shouting people out. Jane does too. She loves people. Jill Squire. Okay, I met her with Rochelle Proser, and Amber Williams. We're gonna do an oncology show next week again, and this is just phenomenal. So I love to see the people out here, and, wow, I mean, look, I can't even talk. That's messed up, but I can't talk. But it is. It's something else. Oh, by the way, the style coach job, I applied for that, never heard back. So you're telling me the position's full? I'm gonna have to call Tanya. I applied to be the style coach, which I guess I didn't qualify. Yes. All right, like, we're gonna give a shout out. Hey, do us a favor, hounds. Scan this QR code. We're supporting St. Jude Miami Walk Run. We love to give back here. Scan that and donate or share it if you're not able to. It's a virtual and in person. So if you can't make it out to Miami, no worries. All right. But this is very special to our heart. We have a lot of folks that deal with the treatment of cancer. We're helping working on survival rates. And we have friends and hounds who are just facing cancer or loved ones facing it. So everybody scan that QR code. And if you can give $1, just do that. If you can do anything you can, spread the word. Let's do that because it actually starts September 28th. All right. So a lot of people in the hounds, this is near and dear to their hearts. If you're able in a position to help, please do so. And then, speaking of that, our dear friend and hound, Russ Hedge, he's posted about this publicly. And, he is facing his battle with cancer again. Okay. So, but Russ, man, the guy has a heart of gold. He wants to continue and go out there to the event. So, we're looking for sponsors to help Russ go out there and support and speak and be a part of that to help other cancer survivors. Okay. So anybody who's looking for that, Russ is going to give back. He has a great show. He's got multiple shows, and he's willing to give that back in trade for helping him get there. So I did it. I'm not gonna lie. If you're able to, or somebody who wants to help this guy get out there and inspire other people, we wanted to make sure this was seen out here. Okay, and you get a great visibility with his sponsorships. So everybody who knows Russ, I wanted to make sure you guys saw this. People who don't know Russ, what are you waiting for? Chewing on the. He's got 1,000 shows, so you pretty much every hour of the day he's got a show going on, and it's always crisp and clean. So we want to make sure we gave Russ a shout out. But it would be easy for him to say, "I just can't do this," but Russ is going to do this, and that's just the kind of man Russ is. So thank you for all you do for me, everyone in the pack, Russ Hedge. You're the man. We love you to death, and we'll do anything to help you, brother. And then not to go, too, commercial, but HR for you. All right, their transformation kitchen. Scan this. They're doing some amazing, amazing things, and we're going to have them on the show on the 25th. All right, so we can talk about this and get more excitement. But go ahead and scan that code. All the hounds already know. All right, they're doing amazing things. They're helping people become self-sufficient. This is an amazing movement, and I hope to see it copied. I really think that other organizations will copy this from my background in nonprofit. This is something I was doing before I changed career path. Let's just say that. Maybe Jane can interview me next week. We'll get into that. But everybody go out there, HR for you and Chasen Forehand, doing amazing things with people out there. He's got a big support from a lot of top level people, a lot of companies, organizations, and we are just absolutely thrilled to be partnered with him. So make sure you guys scan that QR code or just check him out on Facebook or LinkedIn. He's always talking about that. All right. So Jane, thank you for letting me give shout outs because whoo, so much good things going on in this pack. It's unbelievable. And I'm so glad you're a part of it.
Well, as a cancer survivor myself, I can't believe he's actually doing things while he's going through that. It's just, there's no way. I was like in my bed with a pillow over my head. So kudos to him.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, and if anybody missed that or if you know, I'll post it in the pack. I'll post it on, my LinkedIn tomorrow. We'll get the ball rolling. Don't feel obligated, obviously, but if you feel compelled to do it, hey, there it is. But yeah, it is tremendous how and not just him, there's several people, and there's just something inside of you. Again, well, I can't build a business. I'm not facing cancer trying to build a business. Like I get a paper cut and I'm like, "Oh," there's always someone to inspire you to be more. That's and
Yep.
you do that for a lot of people. So, before we maybe we'll dive a little bit into the IBM a little bit more, but I really want to talk about what I think everybody else wants to hear: the career transition. Right. So you had this big, great career at IBM, and you've done that. Well, first of all, before we do that, because now it's different. What was the experience like working in a corporate setting in that male-dominated industry?
The one thing about IBM is it's a million different companies. So
Yeah,
I did
right.
a million different things, and there were a lot of different opportunities to try out a lot of different things. And I think what was really fascinating about the whole thing was the opportunity to work in a truly global company where I got to work across cultures. So working in a male dominant organization, you just I don't know. I'd done it so often and for so long, it didn't even occur to me. And I did find out later, and I shouldn't probably say this on here. If anybody repeats it, I'll be in big trouble. But my after I was
We'll
hired,
delete it.
I did find out that I was one of the people that was hired when they were really specifically looking for women. So there was not
Good.
a quota, but they're saying, we were really you came at the right time, and so sometimes you can take advantage of that stuff. So it did work. I got a lot of attention, and I think I probably did my best because I wasn't afraid to try new things. And I was always, and I still do it now that I've retired and I'm in a volunteer setting. I'm the one going, okay, I'll do that. So
Right.
try something new. Take it on. If there's a crazy opportunity, then look around and see, are the people that I really don't respect doing this? No, they're not. So I'll do it. So, you know,
I love
so
that.
find your
That ought to be on a
space.
t-shirt. Is there anybody I respect doing it? No, might as well. That explains the hound. See, you already know the hound
Sign
story.
me
You don't need
up.
to hear that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, as a contractor, before I joined IBM, I was a contractor in the IT space, and one of the best things I ever did was I had no idea about database programming, no idea about how to do SQL or anything like that. And I was a contractor at Anheuser-Busch, and their SQL server had gone completely down, and they'd had 3 or 4 different contractors in to look at it, and they all walked out and said, "Oh my God, this is too screwed up. We can't do it." So I said, "Hey, I'll give it a shot." And they locked me in the room, for about 3 days. We walked in the data center and I figured it out. And that
Wow.
really did kind of launch it. I mean, it was a job that no one else wanted to do. Other people had failed, men. And I went in there and figured it out. And so not being afraid to take that on, when they would say, okay, I ended up I was a project manager, project program manager, and they needed someone to do troubled projects. Those are projects that are at risk, in trouble, something's massively screwed up with them. And I did that. I said, okay, I'll do it. Why not? And I did that for like 2 years, traveling around the country, getting yelled at by people. But I think it's probably why I can be a coach now because, you just learn. Just let them yell, let them scream, let them get it all out, and then we'll fix it because nothing's that hard to fix. So it's just taking on, and taking on things that are outside your comfort zone that other people don't necessarily want to do and shining.
I you're such a cool person. You're just always just kinda cool. You know how to chameleon around everywhere. You're just I've seen you at the brand face sessions and all these different things, and you're just cool. And so as we talk about that, your transition, what motivated you again to transition from a corporate career to coaching when you really didn't have to do anything?
Yeah, well, I really kind of retired from IBM. I was at an age where you couldn't quit. You retired. I was sick of traveling. I just couldn't take it anymore. And I came back to St. Louis to my alma mater and was the CIO. I ran the tech group there. And it was a challenge. It was a team that had been under very autocratic leadership, very under recognized, very depressed. I mean, they were all walking around campus. Well, everybody said, "Why are you people always look so depressed?" And I loved that challenge. I did that. That was the hardest thing to do. I mean, it took 3 years. I really kind of changed and made some changes in that culture. Didn't last, but it was. I really learned how hard it is to change culture from within, right?
Yeah,
And
sure.
so one of the things though that really really helped was I got two of my people who I thought were brilliant but they had been under recognized. I put them through coaching with an external coaching company that gave them another perspective on their abilities and what world was like. They were in like this little fishbowl where they didn't even know. They went through this coaching and they came out just great. One of the woman was, she's now got a fantastic job. She left and she's got a fantastic job in another group. And the other, the guy that I put through now is at the director level, where he wouldn't have been before,
Wow.
and very happy. So I saw that, and then when I retired, the people that I that did that coaching asked me if I would work for them, and so I do that with them on a contract basis. And it's been so rewarding to actually be able to give back, and I, I have a kind of an unusual career trajectory. And so I've got a lot of experiences that kind of help me. And I think a lot of it is with women who find it that they're put into a mold, they're told what success is, they haven't learned how to speak up and define their own success, and just helping them come out of that shell and find their own voice and find what they really really love. I just love doing that. So it's not something you can't not do, right? I would do it if
Let's
I
switch
wasn't
gears.
even making money.
Well, actually, let's dive into that a little bit. So, what is it that's particularly women, right? And I guess it's true for men too, but what keeps them from making a change like that, or seeking coaching, or trying to pivot? Is it just I have a 401k, or I have a pension, is it that comfort zone, or I'm too old to change? Like, what do you kind of hear from folks as you coach them of why they don't make changes, even though they're becoming miserable?
That's a really really good question. To me it's
I get
self-evident.
lucky,
Why wouldn't you make a change if you're miserable? But I think they
right?
feel, a lot of these women feel like they're trapped. I mean, they feel like I'm getting paid well. I've reached some level of success. I have a family at home. I have to, do all these things, and it's hard for them to take a risk. I mean, they're not in a situation where they feel like they really can take a risk,
No,
and so that's hard, and but if you take a calculated risk, that's a little different than taking a just complete risk. So, but a lot of these women are like what they've told me to tell me time and time again, and I find this true in this remote. I did my doctorate on remote leadership, and it's truly, truly different than being face to face, as anybody would know. I mean, here we're in this little box. That's all you see of me, right?
yeah, I need
And
your coaching. I'm all
and
virtual.
yeah. And it's all, but it's hard for them to be recognized. It's hard for them to feel like anybody's paying attention. They have a great idea. They have the most wonderful idea in the world, but they're marginalized and ever, and they don't have the courage to stand up and say, this is a great idea. You guys are doing this wrong. Listen to me, and I'll prove it to you. And you have to back that up with skill. You can't just do it with nothing to back it up. But if you truly have a great idea and something that's worth hearing, stand up and say it, And it sounds simple, but it's very, very difficult to do.
You're preaching to the choir. You have no idea. So I put my stuff in the box and left late at night and said, "Hey, honey, I don't have any income." Yeah, that's that was not calculated. I don't recommend that. But what I do recommend is to follow that little voice that is telling you, you can't do this no more. You are sick and tired of being sick and tired. This because as soon as we try to say, "Oh, we're going to make a change," yeah, but how am I going to get the kids to school and blah 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 and d, right? And that's where you can come in. You can sit down and help people work through the emotional side, right? Work through all that. Plan it out. Don't just do like I did, put your stuff in the box and go, "Uh-oh," right? That's not I don't recommend that. For me, it had to happen because I knew deep down and I was supposed to be a creator and do something, right, special. But I just did it in a goofy way, and I needed that. I needed that, but most people, they need help, and that's so tell us about your coaching. When somebody comes in, you know, who can you help the most? What kind of things are they going through? And, a little bit of the guidance, like, is it 6 weeks or tell us a little bit about it.
Um, It depends on what you need. I think a lot of people really just need that focus. A lot of who I work with are people who are new leaders, and it's very, very difficult for some people to make that transition between doing something, especially in IT, when you really love coding. I love getting on there and writing some code. I love working with this network software and all this stuff. And suddenly you're a manager, you don't have the same job anymore, and it's very, very hard, and nobody gives people in IT, and I don't know, I it just seems like it's more pronounced in IT, but nobody gives them any decent training in the fact that it is a new job. This is how you're leading people. You're not doing it anymore. You're teaching and helping other people to do it. And that is something that most of the people that I coach, that's the position they're in. They're new leaders, new managers, and they just haven't had any. The first thing I tell them is go out in your company and get yourself a decent mentor. Who are your role models? Who do you want to be like? And how do you want to? Do you have ever had a great manager? Who's your best manager? What do they do and why? And
That's smart.
it's that recognition that it's a different job entirely. And I hear women in IT say it over and over again. It's like the guys don't respect me. They're all technical. I'm not technical enough. So what? You're not doing it. You're not. They're great coders, and that's fantastic. Get the best coders you can, but you're doing a different job, and they need to respect that. So
Right. I mean, it's like the coach. The coach doesn't go in there in the locker room and act like the players, right? I mean, there's a different role.
you bring
There
out
there
the
was a
best in
lady
other people.
absolutely. There was a lady that used to work a round of attorneys, a lot of attorneys, but then someone said, "Hey, you're not an attorney. You don't have to dress like that. You don't have to act like that, right? You are a different role." And I think that was very telling because then I was like, "Oh, well, I thought I had to do that." No, you're not an attorney. You're a complimentary support to the attorney in the process, but you have a different role. And I love that. See, that was very good clarity right there. So, let's see. So because I remember you saying this design thinking, right? And your doctrine and leadership remote. You use a lot of that. So is there, let's see, what am I trying to say here? Um, if someone comes to you and they're new, right, and they're brand new to the industry, can you still help them, or can you even help ladies transition out of the industry? Like, is there people that are trying to get out of it? Can you help them too, or what?
Man, my first interview, I'm bringing out a new newsletter here in about a week or so, and my first interview was a woman who
Oh,
I
good.
actually coached out of her job. Um, she's she was in IT. She was very unhappy. we started off with I mean, the first thing you do is try to say, okay, is there something you can do to make your situation better? And as the more we talked, the more we went through it, it was just like, no, it's not going to happen. So,
No.
and she called me up all excited one day and she said, guess what? She says, I eliminated my own job. I marched down to HR and I said, you don't need this position. I'm leaving. She is now she has a hobby farm with her husband. They're starting a cold business making coffee. They're doing all sorts of different things. And she is the happiest person I've ever seen. And
Wow.
it was taking that to having that courage to make that jump. And a lot sometimes coaching, you don't tell people obviously to do that, and that's not where you want to be. But as you're talking to them, they suddenly come to that realization themselves. It's like, oh,
You're the guide. You're the guide that helps them.
yeah.
Like the Appalachian Trail, right? Most people, especially my New York City friends in the pack, right? They probably get eaten by bears that fall off cliffs. You need somebody who's been there, done that, and can help you figure it out. That's where you come along, right? That's what you do.
And
Like,
coaching is all about everybody has what we always say is everybody has whatever they need when they come into a coaching. It's just bringing it out, and letting them see that they have it.
I
So.
mean, I'm proof positive. You should have saw me 2.5 years ago. Like now about, hanging around all these brilliant people like you and talking and getting to know people and having coaching. I'm the most evolved redneck you've ever seen in your life, right?
Do you have any
You know,
photos? Do you have any photos from that past life?
I do. I'm gonna have to go. People want to see my fireman uniform. And boy, I look like I'm 8. I look like a kid on Halloween. I don't look like, like y'all think I would look. I'll find them. I'll dig those up and I'll dig up the stuff that I had on LinkedIn before Tanya. That's
Yeah.
embarrassing too.
Here's the
I'll start
transformation. Yeah.
the Hounds Museum. Everybody wants to go. How bad was it? Tanya saw it, was like, oh, right track, wrong train. I'm gonna help this guy, right? Like I'm gonna say something. Like she said, anybody who calls himself the redneck connector or financial coach, I've got to say hi. I got to find out what that is. But and it goes back to your point. Sometimes you just got to be bold. You just got to go out there. You just have to do something. Try it. If it doesn't work, don't try it again. Right? There's a gazillion other job postings and opportunities, or you can find your own groove. So everybody go out there. What's your website again? I'll
It
pull
is
that up.
findyourfirecoach.com.
Find your fire coach. Make sure everybody goes and checks it out. Pass it on. If you know people who are struggling or just can use some help, or maybe they don't need anything, connect them with Dr. Jane. Birds of a feather flock together. Let's get this going because it's not a game. People are struggling and silently struggling and not happy. And that ruins family relationships, that ruins marriages, friendships, everything.
You're
And,
right.
and for what? Life's too daggum short. It really is. And so amateurs do things alone. All top level professionals have coaches, people who've been there, done that. And you're looking at the realist right here, Dr. Jane. So, any last parting words? So, if there's somebody out there who's been on the fence, they've been trying to bury their head in the sand, they're a little bit shy. I don't know if I should say anything, but deep down, there's pain. They don't. What would be something they could do? What's that baby step that they can take? What's your encouragement to them to just start doing something different?
I got to tell you, the Hounds is the perfect place to do that. I came out of my shell in a virtual environment. I was one of the first in chat groups back when they were, I don't even want to tell you, I was working on my Commodore 64. But find your voice in a non-threatening environment. I mean, the Hounds is a perfect place to do it. I mean, you just throw everything out there and everybody's gonna amplify it or ignore it if it's crazy, but nobody's going to say that was the stupidest thing I ever heard and you're a moron. So
Right.
everybody's out there with the best of intentions, and that's a great way to get your confidence. So, yeah, just get out there and dive in.
It is. And when you invite somebody, you're not saying, "Oh, look at my stuff or come to my stuff." You're saying, "Hey, I can connect you with other people who can help boost you." And
Yeah.
so it's a great value. And then you take them off that goofy competitive space of social media and you put them in where you can actually build a relationship with them. And that makes all the difference. So thank you for saying that. No, I did not tell her to say that. No, nobody tells Dr. Jane what to do. All right.
It
Let me put that
works.
on
It
record.
works.
Yeah, there you go. So, hey, you're a fantastic person. I love the wisdom getting to know you today. Thank you for all the hounds in the comments. I definitely got to connect you and Sarah and Natasha. So, thank you all. Appreciate all you guys and tune in next week. We're going to do another oncology special. This one is going to be amazing, a little different. So everybody can tune in and share that with everyone. And Dr. Jane, you are fantastic. Tanya
Thank you.
Eberhardt, thank you so much for the introduction. My goodness. And everybody in the comments, have fun, go to bed, wake up early, kick butt. We'll see you next week, and appreciate it. And if you're a stray out there, all right, some of this resonated with you. What are you waiting for? All right, send me a DM. I would love to plug you in our group call. And hey, you have something special. Courage before confidence. All right, get that support, get those resources you need to scale up. That's why we're here, guys. So I appreciate you all. Dr. Jane, have fun. I appreciate. We'll have you back. This was too much
Thank
fun. We're gonna have you back soon.
you.
All right. Well, if I can find my button, I will launch the outro. See you all next one. Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.